Hey my crafty mavens, welcome to the second tutorial in this month's subscription, and we are going to use this cut file. This was from National Scrapbooking Day weekend, and it says Stop and Fussy Cut, and I thought this would be really fun to do on a photo that I have some stuff on it, so like my room or something, which I feel like is my theme lately, is kind of scrapbooking some stuff in my room or about my room or my business that I haven't gotten around to scrapbooking as much. And so I want to use this, and I want to alter it because I feel like sometimes that is the best way to like really make these just fun. But I want to just focus on part of it. So I think I want to focus on the part that is the smallest part, which is going to be the most complicated part because it's very intricate. But there is a fun way to do this. And so I think what I want to do is use a medium on it that probably is not in the kit, because I think I just want to use some plain multimedia. So I'm going to switch out my paintbrushes, and I'm going to grab some just plain gesso. This is white, and then I'm going to grab a thicker paintbrush that I usually use gesso with, and then this a little bit of a thinner one, and this one is not very good, and I can see my cat was trying to eat it. I'm also going to grab another piece of pattern paper or cardstock. This one I'm going to use just plain, like a non-textured one, and this is cut out on a thinner texture one. So I did think about using like more of a matte medium, and then I decided I'm not going to. Or like a heavy body. I don't want to use something really thick. Now another thing you could use is one of the pastes from the kit, but I think that adding gesso and adding some media to it, I think will give it a really lovely color. And I think I'm going to add one more color. Okay, so I'm also grabbing Pink Fresh Studio. I have a Reinkers from them, and I think I want to use the 3 of these colors. And so we're just going to play around with it, and I'm going to mix everything on the side. I like to do that. That way I don't have to commit if I don't like it. And I will say, before we let it dry completely, I will lift this up off. Now I did think about just doing this part, the thicker part, but I think by doing the thinner part, this part will help it really stand out. I wanted to do this like voiceover so that you could hear me a little bit better and talk through what I'm actually doing. I didn't do that as much while I was filming this, but I'm gonna clean off the top of my gesso just because I don't want any of those bits in, and I'm gonna put 3 dots on the side on my mat. I have a glass mat. You can get glass mats anywhere. I like the glass mats. They're a lot easier to clean up in a lot of ways. And they have some bigger ones. Honestly, this one is a little too small, but you know, it doesn't really matter. I also have used a silicone mat, and that works out really nicely too for blending. And I want each of these colors to be a lot more muted. I don't want them as bright. I want, I just want a softer look for this because I can do some other stuff on here. And then I decided that I wanted to end up doing 3 letters. No, I split up the letters, and I forget exactly how I did it. I think I did 3, 2, 3, but I could be wrong about that. So I am splitting it up, and I'm just going to end up blending. When I go to move on to the next color, I'm going to blend them kind of together. So you'll see how it works out, and it looks nicer than that. And like I was saying, I needed to move those pieces of gesso a little bit further apart just so that they didn't mix in together, but it's okay. And I'm just taking that small brush. I decided not even to use the big brush, and I'm just kind of tapping it. And so I'm going to go halfway through this. I think that's what I do. I do like half and half on there, or maybe I don't. Maybe I do 3, and then one of the ones I do half. And so I'm just making sure I cover each one. Honestly, I would move this if you don't want your cut file to be stuck on your page. That acrylic gloss, because it's paint and with the gesso, I found that it really stuck. And so now my layout is the way that it is. It is stuck there, which is fine because I'm going to end up doing, I'll make it work. And then I'll share with you guys in the group and stuff what my projects look like when they're all done once I create something with it. Now, I generally don't create a background all the time without having like a layout in mind or a photo in mind. So if this is something that is like completely foreign to you doing it this way, you're not thinking wrong. You're thinking exactly how I usually think. I will say it is kind of nice to have some things done ahead of time. So I would have just lifted that up so I could reuse it, so I don't even have to worry, and I can play with the background of another layout and maybe do a little bit of smushing or something. So here's the purple. I did have to add a little bit extra because it was really soft, but I like it. It actually would work really well, these colors, for like an Easter layout or something. So you can use this technique on any kind of cut file that you want. Like I said, I'm using that small paintbrush and I'm just tapping it on so that I can just add to the areas that I want to add to. That thin paper, or the cut is thin, so you really want to be careful. You don't want to add too much media because there's no gesso on it, just the gesso that it's mixed. This green also, actually this green I think I used a little bit too much because I was thinking it was going to be lighter like the purple. It must be the concentration level. They are two completely different companies, so that could be very much how that works too. They are the same kind of ink though. So they are not alcohol inks. They are dye-based. And so I'm just going to go in and do this green. And I love this color green. It is so pretty. Once again, I think I would have lifted it up before I started and then put it back down and then redid it. So I would have did it in a spot. So here I'm like, oh, I want to do something fun on the background. This is kind of how I work. So this you could do on something totally different. You kind of get like a 2-for-1. And I'm going to do like almost like a geometric type of pattern. I'm just going to create squares with my paintbrush along the layout. This is where I would have taken all of these pieces off, honestly. I don't know what I was thinking. So don't make the same mistake if you want to use it separate and not worry, because this would have been fun. I could have made squares right where all those the colors were, and I could have did like really big squares and use those to put my photos on. See, so these are things that I think we often don't think about, and we make these simple little mistakes or things. And really in scrapbooking you just need to adjust, right? And mixed media, you just have to learn how to adjust, because it can get messy and it can get complicated if you don't think all the way through. And most of the time when I'm doing mixed media, I'm doing it to have fun and to get all those thoughts out of my head. So that is what I'm doing. I'm just playing here, and I didn't think about the fact that my cut file was there, but that's okay. Like I said, we're moving on. So now I'm going to work on this purple, and I am going to overlap some of these colors a little bit, but not too much. And I'm just playing. It really, there is no rhyme or reason to where I was putting these squares. And I think that's the fun part about doing this kind of thing. This would have been fun on an art journal page. And I do end up using this paint concoction, if you will, on an art journal page at the, like, after. I just put it on the background, and I'll probably do something else with it later. And it didn't look like squares like these, but because there wasn't as much left. So each time I'm going to clean my paintbrush. I'm not getting it dry or anything. I don't really need to do that. And I did add a little bit more gesso just to get it a little bit lighter, because that pink was super bright. And not that I mind the super bright, but the other two colors were a little bit more pastel for me. And I mean, I know that green is like really dark. I do like how some of this is drying for the green. That was such a pretty color. And that's Pink Fresh Studio. I don't remember what color it is. So anyway, I'm going to let you finish watching this. And then at the end, I'm going to kind of explain more of what I did in person. Okay, so I'm going to leave that like that, but I am going to start pulling this up a little bit because I don't want this to dry. And I probably should have did this before I started doing all of the squares. Because this is such a thin and intricate cut file that if you're not careful, and I might just have to now leave it. Okay, we're gonna just leave that there. We're gonna leave it. And we're gonna do with this layout what it is. Sometimes it dictates what you're gonna do. And that's okay. So we're just gonna leave it like that. And we're going to figure out a way to either cut this out, which is totally possible. And then I think I'm going to grab my art journal and just kind of use up the rest of these colors.